Governor Alex Otti has signed into law a bill to cut down the cost of governance in Abia State. This bill scraps payment of homogeneous money paid as pensions to former governors and deputy governors in Abia State. By implication, former governors like Ikpeazụ, T.A. Otti, and Kalu will no longer earn their pensions and other entitlements. Alex Otti has indeed continued to show what true leadership is all about. Of course, this is long overdue. It is outright greed for former governors and deputy governors to allocate pensions to themselves after 7-8 years in office. They deserve no such amount of money after looting the treasury dry. Of course, let's take a look of pensions being paid to former governors, because this is not only limited to Abia State, it cuts across the country. Why thousands of retired civil servants across Nigeria who labor for their state for 35 years wallow in abject penury and die without getting their pensions and other entitlements, and why many serving civil servants go without pay for upwards of 10 months. Former state governors since 1999 who spent maximum of 8 years in office are swimming in millions of taxpayers' naira carted away monthly in form of pensions, leaving most of the state's coffers empty. Findings shows that even former governors who are now in public services are not exempted from this homogeneous pension allowance. For some of them, it's double portion. They collect all the emoluments due to them in their new offices while still receiving huge sum as pension allowance from their state government, some of which are unable to pay worker salaries for several months running. This is even as most state governments across the country have bluntly refused to adopt and implement the Contributory Pension Scheme (CPS) as captured in the Pension Reform Act 2004 and updated in the Pension Reform Act 2014, which is meant to provide a soft landing for retirees while also relieving the state of the burden of having to pay pensions to retired civil servants from the Treasury. Investigation shows that the annual pension allowance of ex-governors, excluding other homogeneous allowances, vary from state to state and range from 5.5 million to as high as 300 million, depending on how rich the state is, the number of ex-governors, and the audacity of a sitting governor to influence the state legislature to enact pensions law that protect his or her interests after office. In between these two extremes are other no less mind-blowing figures as 6.6 million, 8.8 million, 30 million, and 200 million. For instance, in the 12th year of his 8-year tenure as governor of oil-rich Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio in 2014 signed a law that provides 200 million as annual disbursement to former governors and as pension for life at a rate equivalent to the salary of the incumbent governor. The law also provides for free medical services for each ex-governor and spouse at an amount not exceeding 100 million per annum, a new official car and a utility vehicle every 4 years, one personal aide, a cook, a chauffeur, and a security guide at a sum not exceeding 5 million per month and 2.2 million naira. Similarly, in 2007, as governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, also signed a pension law that grants benefits for life for former governors of the state. This includes 2 houses, one in Lagos and another in Abuja, 6 brand new cars replaceable every 3 years, furniture allowance of 300% of annual salary to be paid every 2 years, and a reported 2.5 million as monthly pension pay. In Rivers State, the pension law provides 100% of annual basic salaries for ex-governors. Kalu State Pension Right Law 2007 provides for 100% of annual basic salaries. Kwara State 2010 Pension Law gives a former governor 300% of his salary. In Sokoto State, ex-governors receive 200 million monetization for other emoluments, which include domestic aid, residents, and vehicles that could be renewed after every 4 years. In Edo State, bill for a law to provide for the pension right of the governor and the deputy governor was passed by members of the State House of Assembly on May 9, 2007. The law was passed few weeks to the expiration of Lucky Ibenodium administration and is only for the benefit of those who were elected to hold office as civilian governors of the state, provided they were not removed from office by impeachment. The law empowers the governor and his deputy to earn pension for life at a rate equivalent to 100% of their last annual salary, and the pension will be charged on consolidated fund. Other benefits to be enjoyed by former governors and their deputies include an officer not above salary grade 12 as special assistant, a personnel secretary not below grade 10 who shall be selected by the former governor from the public service of Edo State, 2 cooks and 2 armed police men for security. Former governors are also to have 3 vehicles to be bought by the state government and liable to be replaced every 5 years, 3 drivers who shall be selected by the former governor and paid by the state government, and free medical treatment for the governor and his immediate family. For former deputy governors, they shall be entitled to pension for life at a rate equivalent to 100% of their last annual salary. An officer not above salary grade 12 as special assistant, personal secretary not below grade level 09 who shall be selected by the former deputy governor from the public service of the state, a cook and 2 armed policemen for security. They are also entitled to 2 vehicles to be bought by the state government and liable to be replaced every 5 years, 2 drivers who shall be selected by the former deputy governor and paid by the state government, and free medical treatment for the deputy governors and their immediate families. The governor and deputy are also entitled to 300% severance gratuity of their basic salary, even though the amount paid to the governors and deputies so far are not made public. Investigation also shows that Plateau State has a pension law that supports the payment of 600,000 naira to its ex-governors as monthly take-home. Gombe State has a law supporting the pension of 300 million as pension benefit for ex-governors. Enquiries in Bayelsa State show that there is no legislation legitimizing payment of youth pension allowance to former governors of the state, but an impeccable source confided that former governor Timi Receiver paid certain monthly allowance to former governors of the state. Although the source did not specify the amount, he however disclosed that Receiver paid such allowances to former military governors Caleb Ulubolade and Edobi, as well as J.T. Afres Pith, who was military governor of the Old River State, and former civilian governor Deipriye Alamesiaga and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The source also said that former governor Henry Sirake Dixon has refused to pay Silva such monies, but could not state if others were receiving the monthly payment from the state government. However, it could not be established whether all the states were paying pension to former governors and how much each state was paying. However, findings shows that, like the obnoxious monthly security vote for serving governors, which is mired in opacity, the matter of outrageous pensions appears to be a common interest that all ex-governors, irrespective of their political party affiliation, labor to protect. Many Nigerians say that this jumbo pension to former governors is the reason many states are in financial crisis of immense proportions, with a good number of them unable to pay workers and pensioners and meet other obligations. For instance, while Akwa Ibom state government now receives 5.6 billion as its statutory monthly allocation, it requires 6.5 billion to meet the wage bill of workers in the state. While analysts agree that the current economic recession has its roots in the way governors across many states of the Federation conducted economic activities in their various states in the past years, they are worried that continual payment of huge amount of pensions to ex-governors, most of who stole their state treasury dry, is not only sinful, immoral and insensitive, but also unwarranted, especially at a time like this when the economy is in coma. Tija Bolton, head of Policy Alert, a non-governmental organization working to promote economic and environmental justice in the Niger Delta region, who described the jumbo pension scheme by former governors as criminal, said those in power have always found ways to gratify themselves at the expense of the people, adding that it is a double pay for most of the governors who are now senators receiving remuneration from the same system. Yet, we are crying that we are unable to fund capital projects and unable to pay salaries and pensions of workers, he said. But in contend that it will be difficult to talk about recession without putting the blame at the doorstep of governors as well. We cannot talk about recession without blaming the governors. The state and local government area receive about 48% of all federal allocated revenues. So the way they manage all those resources has a bearing on where we are now, he says. Bolin is also of the view that the recession should be an opportunity for all ties of government, but specifically states and LGAs, to increase fiscal prudence and start putting the people's money where the people's issues are, reduce costs of governance, unnecessary aid, etc., and invest more in diversification, especially in agriculture. For Sami Etug, a legal practitioner, the pension scheme is a huge fraud. He added, however, that although it has taken a huge toll on the resources of the state, it can hardly be solely responsible for the current financial crisis. The truth is the present government lacks good economic policies to address the global economic downturn, and it lacks capable hands to navigate the country out of its murky, he said. Kingsley Obavo, a journalist, described the payment of pensions to governors and their deputies as abnormal, noting that they are not civil servants. The payment of pensions to former governors and deputies is not right because they are not civil servants. They are public officers, and their service was subject to a particular period of between 4 and 8 years. For me, that is not enough for a pension to be paid to them, especially when compared to civil servants who have spent all their lives from their youthful period to age serving the public, Above said. I don't see any reason why the governors and deputies should be given pension. Otherwise, I see it as a selfish provision to waste public funds on them. Another way of ripping the public of their common wealth after having acquired so much for themselves. It should be discouraged, he said. Tony Abolo, a media consultant, said years of experience with governors and deputies in this country had been laced with stealing. Abolo also supported the call by the former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, Nuhu Ribadu, for the scrapping of security votes for governors, noting that security votes are the bedrock of corruption in the nation's politics. You cannot give pension to people who stole the people's blind, engaged in contract, and at the same time benefited from the contract which they conceived, designed, awarded, and executed along with their friends, collected kickbacks, and collected the payment. In all honesty, they deserve nothing but to go home having now stolen the people blind, he said. Meanwhile, the first quarter review reported by the Nigerian Pension Commission, PENCOM, released in March 2016, shows that 24 out of the 36 states of the Federation, in total violation of the Pension Reform Act 2024, have failed to implement Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS, and group life insurance for civil servants in the state. Some former governors who held public office include Chris Ngige of Anambra State, a one-time senator and the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Kayode Fayomi, Ekiti State, Minister of Solid Minerals, Rotimi Amechi Rivers, Minister of Transport, Babatunde Fashola Lagos, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, and Ayo Fayose, who ruled Ekiti State between May 29, 2003 and October 16, 2006, and was elected governor a second time in October 2014. Others are Godswill Akpabio, Akwa Ibom State, Theodore Orji, Abia State, Bukola Saraki, Kwara, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, Kano, Kabiru Gaya, Kano, Abdullahi Adamu, Nasarawa, Sam Egu, Ebonyi State, Shaba Lafiga, Kwara, Joshua Dari, Plateau, Jonajang, Plateau, Aliyu Magataga, Wamako, Sokoto, Ahmed Sani Yarima, Zamfara, Danju Magoje, Gombe, Buka Abba Ibrahim, Yobe, Adamu Aliero, Kebbi, George Akume, Benue, and Ishaka Adeleke, Osun, all of which are now senators. The lists are endless. You can go on and on and on and on to name the list. Kudos to the Abia State government for taking the bull by the horn by scrapping this fraud called the pension scheme given to former ex-governor of the state. I wish other state governors would take the same bull by the horn and scrap this homologous payment that is being paid to former governors of the state. They don't deserve this. They should go home after their service, just like Mr. P2B of Anambra State did when he left office. He did not take 1 naira from the state coffers. He did not take pension. He said he came in to serve, and after serving, he's leaving. That should be replicated across all the country. Congratulations to Alex Otti. I wish him good luck in his endeavor as the governor of Abia State. Thank you for watching. Please ensure you like, subscribe, drop your comment reaction in the comment box.